Good evening and welcome to Poker on Air, Rubber City Cash Game. Tonight's game is going to be a 1-2 no-limit Holdem game with buy-ins ranging from 200 to 500. I'm Paul Boston, and with me is Trevor Greenwald.
What's up, everybody? Glad to be back here with everyone. Another exciting night of excellent cash game play from our local players. We actually tonight, with a popular request, we have one of our own staff members, Suited Dan Crafton, out on the table tonight. Gonna give it his all. He's been back here watching week after week, so we'll see what he has to do at the table tonight. We actually talked to Dan right before we started, and let's go kick to that clip right now.
Hello, poker fans. Suited Dan here tonight. I wanted to let you know that this evening, because you have asked for it, because you have requested week over week in our Twitch chat room for one of the announcers to don the table tonight on our poker game. I have stepped up because Trevor was a little nervous, a little scared to play out here with these players. So I'm going to take all the knowledge that I've learned over the past 8-9 weeks being in the announcer's booth and just bring that to the table and show these boys and ladies how to play some poker. Trevor, get ready to be schooled tonight.
All right, and like we said, tonight's game is going to be a 1-2 no-limit Holdem game, and we're adding a little twist tonight.
A little extra wrinkle.
Yeah, we're going to play the 7 Deuce.
Yep, so everyone's playing 7 Deuce tonight, so if you're not familiar with that. So if you win a hand with 7 Deuce, no matter what, at showdown, pre-flop, anytime you win a hand with 7 Deuce, the rest of the table owes you $5 tonight. So that should spice up the game a little bit. I'm anxious to see how it works with everyone. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it kind of falls on its face. So we'll see how that goes throughout the night. But with that being said, let's kick it down to the table and introduce our players. Look at that sombrero. Alrighty, and seat number 2, just because seat 1 is vacated, just so you know, seat 2 is Alan. Alan bought it for $300 tonight, and looks like he's ready to go. Next to him is Tammy. Tammy's been on our show a handful of times. One of our lone woman tonight. Tammy bought it for $260 tonight. Next to her is Mike. Mike played on our old table probably about 7-8 months ago. But this is his first time on Rubber City Cash, and he bought it for $300. Next to him, our standard, our muchacho, Mr. Sombrero wearing Maverick. Maverick bought it for the max of $500, and it looks like he's either ready to drink some Coronas or win some money. So we'll see. Next to him is Rajiv. Rajiv, this is his second time. Nice little introduction by him. And he bought it for $200 tonight. Next to him is Chris. This is Chris's like 4th time in a row now, I think he's been on the show. He's played our 2-5 game, he played our sit and go, and he also played last week our 1-2 game. He's been a pretty big winner on the show, so we'll see if he keeps that up. Next to him is our best, our one and only Suited Dan Crafton. Look at that beautifully gelled hair. He's ready to play. Dan bought it for $300. Next to him is Brandon. Brandon's first time on the table. He's got his shades and his Buckeye gear representing Ohio, and Brandon bought it for $200 tonight. With that being said, we'll get our dealer Jerry saddled up and get these cards in the air and see what's happening on the table here. What do you think, Paul? Any thoughts before we get started here?
Well, I'm not sure. It's going to be an interesting night. We got a different mix of people tonight, and a lot of ranges on the buy-ins, a lot of min buy-ins or just over min buy-ins, and a few max buy-ins.
Yeah, it seems like people kind of steered towards the minimum instead of the maximum. Usually, like last week, I think we had like 5 or 6 players all buying for max.
Right.
Well, tonight we only have 2. So we'll see how that works. Especially with the 7 Deuce, if you bought in for a lot, you might be able to use that to your advantage and kind of push around the other players to maybe scoop up that extra $5 from everybody. So we'll see how it goes. Looks like we're gonna start with Maverick under the gun, and we'll see what happens down on the table.
There we go. We're good to do that. All right, now we can play.
I love the Maverick wear sombrero. It's perfect.
For anybody that doesn't know, today's Cinco de Mayo.
It's like 20.
I have a feeling Maverick wears a sombrero just whenever he gets the occasion. I don't think he reserves it only for Cinco de Mayo.
Yes, sir.
Looks like we had the...
I think, do we have a straddle right off the rip?
Yeah, Maverick had the straddle, raised it to 20, and Rajiv
30.
called.
And we have our first winner.
How fun it would have been if we had 7 deuce in the first hand.
I tell you what, you can get yourself in a lot of that. I lost one of the biggest pots I ever lost in trying to win $10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, back in the day when we used to play it all the time, we used to
Yeah.
only play for $1.
Yeah.
And we rarely had a full table. We usually were playing like 7, 8 handed. So it was more like trying to just like goat your buddies instead of actually winning the money. But tonight it's it's a little bit more substantial. 8 players, you win $35 profit from your opponents. But yeah, speaking of the 7 deuce, I remember one night it was getting late in the evening and this was like 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left, and I was going up against the 7 deuce, and of course I have aces, and I think it was like a 6 bet, he shoved on a 6 bet all in, and I was like, call, and we were playing 50 cents a dollar, and I think we had a pot of like $750, so I came on the on the happy end of that one, so
Well,
I remember it fondly.
Mine wasn't quite that bad, but I got called down by third pair.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, they were soul reading you, huh? Folded Tammy on the button. She's got a very lovely ace king. Mavin and Biggs is
Yeah,
gonna say no,
that's
thank you.
Bad enough for Maverick even to fold.
Can't use any kind of powerful words.
Yeah, the table dynamic is going to be really interesting. I know Mike there in seat 4 is a really strong player. So I'm not sure if we have it on our website right now, but you can probably find it somewhere on YouTube. He actually folded a full house to our friend Bobby B. Million Biller way back when Bobby had I think like 4th pair, and Bobby played his hand insanely. I don't even want to say well, but he played it perfectly enough to make Mike fold bottom full house, which was pretty crazy.
Okay, I've heard the stories about that. I wasn't here that night, and so I didn't get to see it. That's why I didn't recognize him.
Mm-hmm.
2 to go.
But it's exciting, we do. I mean, Alan played on our table one other time, I believe, and then this is Brandon and Mike's official first time Rubber City Poker, and Brandon's definite first time. So we'll see how these guys adjust. I think that once you do get under the lights, I think it is a little bit different. Everyone's like, oh, it's just poker. No, it's not exactly just poker, because there's gonna be possibly thousands of people watching you, and it lives on in infamy forever, and on the old interwebs.
Yeah, when nobody else is seeing your cards, you can say, "Oh, well, I had a open-ended straight draw and the flush draw, so I had to call." When you're calling with your third pair,
Right. Well, without flopping a pair, it's a pretty good start for Mav. And he leads into Rajiv. So Rajiv is fairly new to the game. He's still trying to feel out the game and try to figure out, calling tendencies, folding tendencies. And this time he decides that he's going to back down against the aggression.
I've played against him a few times, and the one thing I do know is he will get in the pots with you.
So do you think I almost feel like it's hard to figure him out because he hasn't quite figured himself out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's going to be in there with a lot of different hands and playing them ways you wouldn't think he would play certain hands. The one player I'm real interested in seeing tonight is Brandon. I used to play with Brandon every now and then, and he's played some seasons on Chase the Bracelet, and he was our dealer for season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to be quite a maniac.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to talk either.
No.
He likes to needle people, and he likes to get under people's skin. That's kind of his that's one of his MOs of his style. So I know we can't hear the players all that well, but if we have a situation where Brandon's kind of giving someone the business, we'll definitely do our best to pump up the volume so we can hear that.
Tammy with another late position raise.
Pretty okay with that. Also really okay with Mike just calling with 2s. Early in the game, set mining. Super fun. I know you're thinking A6 too. We can't foul somebody that fast.
Well, we're part of the way there.
Ooh, the old finger the chips and yeah, exactly. Runner's advance. tickling of the chips and then deciding to check.
22.
Pretty big bet for Mike.
Well, the way she balked there, it kind of looked like she might have a big diamond in her hand and wanted to bet it.
Yeah, maybe instead of getting raised, maybe check calling was maybe her initial thought, but Mike bet pretty big, kind of saying, you know what, this one's mine. What's up, everybody in chat? Nice to see some familiar faces in there. Posse and Ryan and Chris. A couple new ones.
Now what's with the hat?
Shades, I think we've seen you in here before. Welcome back.
Wave on it. Hold on, how we doing? We're good.
Who was the guy last week in chat? We couldn't figure out who he was.
Oh, Billy Bob.
I found out who he was.
I did too. I actually didn't realize. I still don't really know if I remember him, but he has to be my buddy on Facebook, so we're officially friends now.
Looks like 5 players.
Little limpy do pot here.
Anybody with a deuce?
I see no deuces.
No.
I see 110 though.
And Rajiv has a pair of 5s.
13's the bet. Cinco.
13 into 11. It's your lucky number.
Which you will see a lot of those kind of bets in a 1-2 no limit game.
Why do you think people overbet the pot like that?
They're scared to lose, I think. They want to get people out.
Yeah, I think people just like to break the seal. They're like, however I can win, I'm just going to go for it. It was actually kind of, interesting turn card. I thought this might make Rajiv feel like he,
Had the best hand.
yeah, in the board pairs like that, that she's,
20.
Super ahead or super behind, so.
Call.
So I think Tammy's checking the turn actually made her some extra monies there. Oh, shades. I'm not so sure we should talk about that. I'm not sure this costumes would be all that appropriate. Shades said we should have done a May 4th broadcast and seen what kind of costumes you had then.
My wife really doesn't watch.
I actually
Ouchie.
would have liked to
Someone takes
May the 4th
pictures.
have our broadcast, but
Fireman guy with all these tattoos.
Well, if I can dress up like Neil Young, I guess that's cool.
Sure, if you're into that.
I thought he was talking about Force Day.
I think it's on the calendar.
I assume he was
Kent
mentioning
State?
the Kent State shootings, but maybe not. Maybe he had other intentions.
Why do you think I go every week? Brick playing. Shirtless poker. See, it could be a thing, right? All right, let's go.
I need a few months for that.
Well, Tammy bringing up the idea of playing shirtless poker. Uh-oh, here we go.
Here we go, our first one of the night.
15.
Oh, and Rajiv's got ace jack suited.
Oh, because you're in a big blind?
This could be interesting if Rajiv gets any part of this.
Yeah, I don't see Rick backing down.
3 players.
And it could be interesting if clubs come too now.
Oh boy.
Check dark.
And Brandon flops 2 pair.
Flops 2 pair, and Mav does have second pair. No one with the diamond.
$35.
Brandon checked dark. So let's see what
A
he
play
does
that I
here.
don't quite understand ever.
I never did get that.
Call and check.
I do believe the Bart Hanson is in the chat. Bart, if you could ever just shed some light on why anyone would ever check dark, please do. I don't quite understand the value of it. Does Mav pull that trigger? I think he will. I think, ooh, maybe not. I thought maybe he's just trying to decide like how much.
Now he's got to try it, doesn't he?
He does, but at the same time, Brandon's hand looks like exactly like it looks like he's been just check calling with the diamond. Ace of diamonds, queen of diamonds, something like that. Oh, he said ship it. He said ship the sugar. We actually talked to Rick earlier on today about playing the 7 Deuce. If we can cue that up and see what he had to say, that'd be great.
No one's surprised.
I put him on a diamond at least. I didn't see what you had. King 4.
Well, we have our festive Rick here tonight. Fantastic hat, I must say. But tonight we're playing 7 Deuce. Give us your thoughts on playing that game and how you can use it to your advantage.
I'm going to try and play a 7 Deuce just like I'd play aces. So if I get 7 Deuce, you can expect a lot of action. And I don't think I'm going to be folding 7 Deuce at all. So we'll see how that works out.
When Rick grabs the mic, you just give it to him, guys. You don't get. Thank you very much to our behind-the-scenes lady in action. Did David Williams also learn to wear his sunglasses upside down on his face? Bart said that David Williams learned to check dark from Marcel Lusk.
Ah.
We got an unsuited Dan.
Oh, do we
We got
really?
unsuited Dan in the chat. That's hysterical.
Crafton's going to love that.
Thanks for the follow, unsuited Dan. That was hysterical. What's up, emails? Welcome to the chat, my man. It wouldn't be nothing without you.
Chris coming in with his first hand and raising it up and taking it down.
Yeah, you know, Chris has been on here a handful of times, and he's just solid. Like he just rarely makes mistakes, and if he doesn't make a mistake, he never really compounds a mistake by just, you know, losing his faculties and going crazy. But
Like I did last week up at the shoe.
ooh, is it something you want to talk about?
Not really.
We can lay you out on the couch.
No, I lost about $400.
Your fault, or was it kind of gross?
About half and half.
Okay. All right, we'll leave it at that then.
Yeah. Every time I made 2 pairs, somebody made 2 bigger pair.
Oh.
I'd make trips. Somebody make better trips. Just. And when I made a move, somebody had a hand. Then I'd compound it by firing the second and third barrel.
I hear you. So do you think Dan was forced to raise in this spot because of his name?
Dan's never been forced to raise. He just loves to do it.
What's up, Greg?
3 players.
I didn't see you in here. What's up, man?
And Dan hoping we don't see a jack.
He's spot. I think if he continuation bets here, I think he's gonna actually win this pot.
I don't know. Tammy may call.
Timmy very well
May
could call, but
Wow.
I'm actually starting to wonder how much Tammy has gone back to
Watch some of them.
watch some of the old stuff. Like, I don't think we've been critical, but I think we've kind of pointed out the fact that just because you flop a little nugget on the flop, you know, you don't have to go forging for the whole mine, you know? Just find your spots. You know, I know she doesn't like to be bluffed, but I don't think that means you have to call all the time.
I'll call him next time. You pay half of my loss, all right? You pitch in on that. I'll call him now.
Yeah, I'd also like to point out that our from our satellite game, Trevor, the winner of our satellite game, finished 13th up at the Horseshoe for
7K,
$7
right?
grand. Yeah.
So he was. Our tournament was what, 250?
250 turned it into 7,000.
That's a pretty sick parlay.
And big shout out to the man right there running our tablet, Paul Moskowitz. He finished 4 out of the money in that tournament.
Played his heart out.
I talked to him right after. He was crushed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was kind of texting with him back and forth, you know, throughout the weekend. And when he told me he busted out, I thought he was joking.
Yeah.
Because it just seemed like he was kind of on this nice little uptick, and he told me he was out, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what the heck happened?
I actually, when he sent me the text that he was out, I was on the road going up because it was almost dinner break. I was going to go up and rail him for a little while.
No, that's too bad. Timmy leading out into best of field. They're ace high. Mike correctly calls with a 6.
Let's see if she'll fire again.
15.
I think Mike's thinking right now, like, would she really lead into 2 other players if she flopped 3 9s?
It's something I've learned now. I will just about every time now, because so many people don't believe you.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those like things that, you know, players can talk about amongst themselves. Like, if they're gonna, it's like we kind of talked about with Bart one night. Like, if you can raise to 20 in a 1-2 game with monsters and get called, then there's no reason not to. So, you know, had she had a 9 and she's playing like this, you know, she'd be making a ton of money off of Mike. Just so happens that she doesn't. So it's like an interesting concept that we can talk about a little bit.
And here Mike's looking like he's going to find out whether she's got it. He's raised it to 40, and she hasn't folded yet.
She doesn't like getting bluffed. She really doesn't.
Yeah, I think you just got to give it. There's so many hands that beat you there. If you got bluffed, you got bluffed. It was a good play.
And Mike scoops another nice little pot there. We will be periodically pulling up our chip counts and letting you guys know where everyone stands. We'll try to compare and contrast versus their starting stacks, so you guys kind of have an idea who's up and who's down in the game.
I believe the Horseshoe is going to be running another one of those $1,500 tournaments in August. I think I'm going to make an effort to get up there and get in that one this time.
Once they see you play.
Have you played many? I know you played out in the Venetian? You played a deep stack out there before?
I've played a few. Played down in Columbus once. I've played several out in Vegas. Yeah, I think I've got a $500 hat for playing in one at the Venetian. Maybe a $1,000 T-shirt.
On the upside, you do wear that hat on a number of occasions, so at least you're getting your money's worth.
Yeah.
4 players.
I figure if I wear it like 10 times a year for the next 30 years, it'll pay for itself.
So it looks like we had the straddle on. I think Rajiv straddled.
Check.
We had a bunch of limpy dimpies.
Check. Check.
Everyone flops a big old air ball.
See who wants this.
Check. 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 All right.
Nobody.
Nobody. Rajiv has the best hand,
Nope.
doesn't he? No.
No, Mav
Mav
scooped
made
down
a
with a straight.
Move the bat.
Okay, I didn't see the 4-card straight. It just goes to show sometimes just because you don't have anything, if nobody wants a pot, they're there to be taken.
Absolutely.
There's a little chip count for you.
So Mav's already up $1.49. Chris has stuck a whole $1, and that's all the farther I got.
Yeah, sometimes we got to be quick on that. It resets awful fast.
I want a taco. People are putting tacos in the chat. I'd go for a taco right now. I don't know who Unsuited Dan is. I'm not sure if he's been here before or what's happening, but he's already cracking me up.
Folds around to Tammy. Yeah, we got blind versus blind here.
7.
I wasn't sure that was going to work against Rajiv.
Yeah, he's sticky, to put it nicely. He's a sticky player. He had position. Rick is on a sombrero. There's a shot. So Rajiv is down, looks like about
100.
Yeah, he bought it for $200, so he's down about 100. I wonder if he came with his pockets lined or if that's his single bullet.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm a winning player.
I'm walking away up.
Suited Dan under the gun here.
Don't believe he'll be playing here.
No, I wouldn't think so, but
Somebody called Mike White Drake. So we have White Ivy now. It's Poker Pete. Now we have White Drake. We could have a whole fictional sit and go one of these nights.
Back to you, Alan.
Ooh, Rajiv did not. Oh, there he is. I was
Okay,
like,
it is a raise
I thought
attack.
he just limped in. I was like, ooh, that's interesting.
3 players.
pretty good flop for eights. But
20.
Doesn't want to see a jack though.
yeah, I was going to say, but he's going to get in trouble if he hits the high end of that straight.
Call.
So Rajiv is obviously super short right now. Oh, I thought the action was. I got confused on how the action went there.
70.
Well, Rajiv's all in, looks like. Alan's just going to have to try to figure out if he wants to draw to that open-ended. Guess not.
No. Rajiv
Ooh.
showed him at least 1-8.
What's up, alcoholics? Thanks for the follow. Question coming from the chat, Mr. Paul Boston.
Yes.
What did you think? What did you think of the Avengers?
I loved it. Loved it.
No, no spoilies, but
No, I went and saw it Friday morning.
it was very crowded.
Actually, no.
Yeah, yeah,
there
little
was
space.
hardly. Yeah, there was hardly any. There were maybe 15 people in the theater.
So no, was there a dig in your popcorn bucket?
No.
I think Alan's gonna raise or limp here. It's like
7 now.
$7.
Alan limps a lot.
That's what I was kind of thinking of. I thought that he's gonna limp there, but
Yeah, he plays a lot of different hands and tries to limp in on quite a few of them.
it's like Chris is giving him a little bit of respect though. Just flatting in the small. Chris will kind of mix it up. Sometimes he'll 3-bet there. Sometimes he'll just call behind.
Check.
And let's see. Anybody flop anything? Nope.
11.
Yeah, the deuces are still winning. We are in Akron, Ohio, and we are a poker on air. We are a poker broadcast company, so we are airing from Akron. No casinos involved. Just a bunch of cool guys hanging out.
I wondered what Chris would do there. Yeah, he's done that a lot. Has floated with 2 overs and taken pots away from people.
Yeah, I think he wants to kind of figure out Alan.
Yeah. See.
If you want to get into stereotypes, usually the older gentlemen, you kind of give them a little more credit. They're not usually in there messing around quite as often, like the quote unquote young guns that are mixing it up. So I think well, I'm gonna say I think 5 more times, but I believe that Chris was gonna give Alan respect until he knows otherwise.
Right.
He doesn't know him from anything. Yeah, Brandon's in seat 10, quote unquote, technically seat 9 on the screen, but yeah, first timer. He's a dealer, so he knows the game well. I think Mike just got informed that they called him White Drake. Maybe we'll cut out a few bars for us.
It's 11 now, Mark.
Tammy raises it to 11. Suited Dan with pocket 8s.
It goes to 11. I think I've said that every week now. Maybe I should cut it out.
Uh-oh.
There's Brandon. Welcome to the table, my friend.
How big a raise?
Looks big.
Yes, it does.
33. Larry Bird.
Oh, 3x. Or, yeah, 3x.
Yeah.
She made 11. I wonder if Brandon has watched any of our previous shows.
One or two, not a lot.
Oh,
I talked to him
you talked to him, he
beforehand.
did? Okay. Oh, Tammy lets it go. So Tammy must be watching past broadcasts because I don't think Tammy week 1 or week 2 folds at ace queen.
Nice fold by Dan. I wasn't sure he'd make that fold either.
He told me he was gonna bring his A game tonight.
He really doesn't like to fold pairs.
Dan was mentioning that he might have had 7 deuce there, but
Then why is he flatting?
good point. No, I think he thought Brandon had 7 deuce.
Brandon, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said Dan said he had.
So unsuited Dan is just answering questions for Dan in the chat.
Oh, really?
So he wants to say, thanks, Cream Pie. It took a lot of discipline to fold that hand. Where would we be without you guys in chat? We'd be a lot more lonely, I'll tell you that.
Call.
Alan with part of the 7 deuce. I actually hate the 10 deuce more than the 7 deuce. Just one of those things. Like I just look down at it and I just get upset.
That's fun.
Mav's gonna see bet here. Looks like, and I don't see Dan messing around. But I tell you what though, Maverick's image is a lot more manageable when he has a giant sombrero on. He isn't. I think it kind of covers up that evil eye he has.
Is Dan thinking about raising? Yes, he is.
43.
Ooh, you see that little tick by Mav? He kind of was like, he kind of gave him the old WTF her look. We'll see if we can get into Rick's head and see what he's thinking.
I will cut you!
No, that can't be good for Dan.
Well, I've got a real good idea what Dan's thinking. He probably doesn't have an ace here. He likes to fire at a lot of pots after he raises.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to see where he's at.
Look at that grin Dan's got on his face.
Show because you got the 7 deuce or not. That's why I'm concerned.
Ooh, see, already the conversation about the 7 deuce. This is why it's so good for the game.
He's going to wear that gum out.
I'll let it go. You show 'cause you got the 7
He was Dan, which is so bad he had a 7 deuce.
King time.
Oh, Dan showed him the best hand. Thought he was bluffing and showed him the best hand.
I guess when Mav tells you to do something or asks you in a nice manner, you just oblige. B Million asking the hard-hitting questions. Would Dan raise with an ace there? Good question. I think he would. Dan actually, when Dan does have pretty big hands, he does kind of tend to play fast.
You had the best hand.
If you guys want a little insight into Dan Crafton.
He likes to build big pots. If he's going to win a pot, he wants it to be big.
He likes his pots like he likes his butts. Big.
You missed it. It's
15. 15.
It's been a while. Yeah, it has. A while for me. Summer's coming. There you go.
Chris raising to 15.
Big raise.
Call. 15.
Brandon's gonna try to set mine.
Three players.
Maverick calls with the ace-3 suited.
Decent start. Decent start for Chris.
Second pair in a straight draw, not too bad.
Interesting.
Oh.
Well, pot control maybe?
Not sure. We'll see.
Maybe he thinks if Mav folds here, going against one opponent, being Brandon, is better than betting into two. Just playing a little pot control, bet call situation. I think we nailed it.
Pretty quick call, yeah.
Ooh, even Brandon just. We're picking up on some tells tonight. Brandon kind of nodded like, "Oh, really? You're gonna call me, huh?"
And it went check, check.
Now he's just shaking his head no. We'll see if a 4 comes in the river. If he starts shaking his head yes. See, ace on the river. Mab will run a runner for 2 pair.
I think Chris just being a little cautious with some players he doesn't know. Doesn't want to get too far out of line there and bloat the pot. It's always nice to play pot control and take down a $100 pot with it.
It's not bad.
5 straddle, 5 to go.
I like Chris. Hopefully he and I can become friends. You know, I kind of feel like we are kind of becoming friends. I mean, we've had a lot of players on the table more than one time, so like them coming in, you know, they all come in like about an hour early. We all just kind of hang out and, you know, and shoot the shrimp, if you will. And you get to know these guys, and they all just love poker. You know, they could be out doing other things. They could be out flying kites, having picnics, but no, they come in here and hang out with us and entertain us for 4 hours. So we're honored to hang out with them. And I'm glad they come back over and over.
Me too. Should be interesting this time of the year. We're going to start finding out who really loves poker because the weather's going to start getting a lot nicer.
Good point. Or who has their wife making them mow the lawn.
32.
Mike said enough of that.
So yeah, so we had Mike play back on our old table before we kind of moved into this poker penthouse, and he did play a solid game. Even though he lost that big pot against B Million, I think he came back to still be a winner that night. I think he does play for a living. I think poker is his paycheck.
Yeah, I believe we had a straddle on that hand. I'm not positive. And then we had a bunch of limpers and
Mike said enough of that.
Yeah.
It's funny, like it happens all the time. You know, you have everyone limping in on a straddle, and the straddle is raised like an absorbent amount. Like we know it's gonna happen, yet people still just allow it to happen. It's like it seems so transparent, but yet I feel like it works a high percentage of the time.
yeah, I tried that against a bunch of limper. Well, actually, there was an under the gun raise to 15 on a straddle the last time I went up, and he had like 4 callers. I shipped it for 100 with a pocket pair. Didn't win.
Oh, as our buddy Jake Carver say, sad beans. Everyone in Ohio has pretty bomb facial hair because we go through a brutal winter, and then we end up liking the way it looks, so we hang on to it throughout the nice months as well.
One more.
Poker on air. If you're supplying to Dos Equis, I think Paul and I would definitely sling back a few if you're offering some sort of adult beverage consumption game.
I'm in. What are the rules?
Every time the pot gets over $100.
Oh, wow. We're going to get loaded.
Yep.
I'm going to have to call Uber.
Call Uber. We have another straddle on, looks like.
100 for that.
Or who raised pre? I missed it.
We were talking and I
talking
missed
about
it all.
we're talking about booze. Rajiv getting after the old Queen 10.
Yeah, he just bet 100 into 60.
Actually, we talked to Rajiv earlier on tonight and asked him about how he's kind of new to the game and what he's doing to kind of better himself. Rajiv here with us now, and Rajiv's relatively new to the game. Rajiv, what do you do to better your game on a regular basis?
I just want to say that when I started my game, I used to get bluffed by everyone, and now I understood that, and now I try to catch everyone, but I sometimes get stuck with that. So I need to relax and understand each players. So I have to play with the players, not the card always.
Trying to find that balance between when to fold and when to call, and trying to figure out when they're bluffing.
Yes, I need to improve on that. Thanks.
Great job. All right, what's going on over here? I was clicking buttons.
Well, it limped around to Rajiv in the big blind. He made it 12 with ace king. Brandon called with jack deuce. Tammy called with king 9, and Mike called with 8-9.
Rajiv likes his position right now, definitely.
And it looks like Rajiv raised and then checked, and Tammy bet her second pair.
Call.
And just calls with top pair, top kicker.
Heads up.
It's a pretty juicy board. I'm not so sure I'm just going to flat.
Jack. 20 now. Raise it up. 50.
Ooh, Evil Eye. Evil Eye by Rajiv. Something he's been working on with his game. Rajiv just giving that stare down. Them laser beams into Tammy.
Check. Check.
He gave it to check raise, then checked on the.
Yeah, I guess he maybe thought she had King Jack of clubs, something goofy like that. What's up, Blunt Step? Nice to see you in the chat, my man.
Oh, Rajiv has battled back from down a little over 100 to up about 70 or 80 now.
He's swingy. He's up and down, left and right. He's all over the place.
Yeah, I've got a feeling it's going to be a roller coaster ride all night.
Oh, Dan's like so close. He should just play this just because. And he'd be like, I don't even want your money. I'm just going to win with 7-3 because I don't even care.
Call. Call.
Tammy's still looking for a hand she doesn't like.
Now.
Rick didn't fold. That's what I was going to say. Rick didn't fold. He has that little white disc in front of him. He's not folding. Sub Zook.
Call. Call. 3 players.
Alan with top pair. Tammy with bottom.
Rick with the lone heart.
Yeah, I was going to say Rick with the only flush draw. And they both checked to him.
20.
Ooh, that was like a soft little, just nudge over the chips. Very nonchalant. NBD.
Oh, we got a little problem.
Ooh, did Jerry goof?
Jerry did goof here.
Jerry's first goof.
That's on me, guys.
What's up, Lefty Ace? I prefer when you're actually in the building, but good to see you in chat, my man. How's the Windy City treating you?
And they just went ahead and chopped that up.
Matt from Chicago. My sister lives in Chicago. You guys should hang out sometime. She's pretty cool. Fair chop, right?
That's a fair chop, absolutely.
As you can see, Mavericks actually had a slightly more equity, but all good.
It's so close that it's almost
See,
nothing.
Mavs is like, you know what? I saved you money because the hearts were coming. You already knew.
Or queen.
Sorry, guys. I'm watching the chat, and you guys are making me lose my commentary cool. So while they get this thing situated, Paul, any certain thoughts you have on the game so far?
Not yet. Been a little slow.
A little sleepy.
yeah.
Some Zers. We've only had 1 7 deuce so far. It worked in Maverick's favor. He scooped a nice size pot off of Brandon. But other than that, not a whole lot going on. Chris has been fairly quiet. We have seen that Mike will mix it up a little bit. Raise it up big on his straddle. Tammy's kind of doing her thing still. Just kind of getting in there with her suited cards and
Rajiv is going to play a lot of pots.
yeah. Rajiv was just like at Cedar Point all day long, just up and down the roller coasters, just doing his thing. So he's doing a pretty good job of recovering from his early loss. But
could be interesting if anybody gets a hand with him. It could get big quick.
yeah, I feel like he has a certain focus tonight. It's like different than usual. He was kind of giving Timmy that eagle eye and just kind of seeing like where she stood, visually.
He's probably honed in mentally. He's been taking his final exams the last week or so.
His mental acuity is at a maximum right now.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Ooh.
And Rajiv being so new to the game, I don't know if he knows the 7 deuce game very well.
Well, going to the flop 5 ways with just 7 Dewey.
And he flatted.
Isn't the best. This is where Maverick's tough. He flops top pair, and he plays a lot of pots, but you just don't ever expect him to have a hand this strong because he's just hanging out all the time.
This one could be kind of fun too. Tammy has top pair also.
And we know how that goes.
And she's let out. I thought he was going to raise more than that.
This is the old ding-dong double.
Yeah, he had more chips out and then pulled off.
Looks like Rajiv, regardless of how well he knows the 7 deuce game, I think he realized when there's a raise and raise in front of you, it's not the best time to go ham with 7 deuce.
Well, Tammy's all in with the worst of it here.
All in a caller, I do believe.
Yep.
Looking for a 10.
Nope.
No such luck.
And
Rick's going to scoop a biggin. Makes about...
I'd say that was a pretty good call on the flop when I said we might see a big one here.
Yeah, your Nostradamus powers definitely came to fruition that time.
It's real easy to figure out when you can see they both have top pair. I was kind of surprised he got that big that quick.
Yeah, I mean, Tammy just kind of marries herself to top pair. Sometimes second pair. And I know, talking to Rick off camera, he knows her tendencies. He knows that she's not. It's not like she has aces there.
Right.
He knows that like she probably has a weak king, and his king queen's more than likely just straight up golden.
Yeah, he when he got here, we were talking before we got started, and
Getting on his good side, right?
well, yeah, absolutely. And he was mad at himself for bluffing at her several times, or not several, but a couple.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, you only touch the hot stove so many times.
Yeah. He goes, I don't know what I was thinking. He said, as soon as I made them bets, I knew she was calling.
Right.
Wow. It's nice to run good too, isn't it?
It's got to feel pretty good. Ooh, Chris is thinking.
Uh-oh.
Dan told me when he knew the lineup that he was not going to be afraid of Maverick or any other players. I think flatting a small blind's fine. Playing out of position against Rick is not the most fun of endeavors.
Heads up.
Dan will be acting first.
This board comes queen high.
Well, Dan's never been shy to call on a draw, and that's
No.
exactly what he's got here.
And he only bet 15.
Ooh, he led into him. Icky. Oh, Rick bet 15.
No, yeah, Rick
Okay.
bet 15.
I didn't think I saw any money in front of Dan, but that makes more sense. Ooh, the verbal check. Do you think the verbal check means anything different than the actual table tap?
I don't myself.
Tony and I were watching a broadcast on Twitch last night with Dutch Boyd, and he was, how much he's betting here? $40. Dan has 12% equity, getting 2.5 to 1. Not quite the right price.
I was gonna say, I don't think he'll make a lot of calls on the turn, but he'll let him go most of the time on the river.
If he had Queen Jack here, I think he would call.
Yeah, with just
Having
a
Ace
gutter.
Queen, no flush possibilities. I think he's like, you know what? There's better times in life.
Yep. Good fold.
So anyway, what I was getting ready to talk about was Dutch Boy was reviewing a Heartland Poker Tour final table, and he was talking about people's voice inflections, and he was getting really in depth with like physical tells. And it's really cool. So he has a channel on Twitch, Dutch Boyd's watch party, and he goes and he talks really in depth about poker hands. And it was kind of cool because people don't really talk about physical tells that much anymore. You know, it's all about bet sizing and percentage and math. It's kind of cool to see. You know, he's, I don't want to call him an old school poker player, but you know, he kind of came up in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and kind of stormed the scene. And now he's kind of doing some different things with his poker career. But it was really fun to watch. We can ask Rick later on how many packs of gum he's actually chewing. You guys can set an over under. We'll figure it out.
Three players.
Mav makes it 10 with the 2-3 of diamonds.
Jack.
Flops a gutter ball.
20.
Well, I'm going to make a prediction here. Somebody's going to have to stand up to him real soon, or he's just going to run this game.
You literally took the
over.
words out of my mouth. Like, who's it gonna be? Look at if you were paying attention, Mike still staring at Rick like, what is this guy doing? Like how, like, you know, three pots in a row, one of them which you felt somebody, and now you just. I mean, Mike's in a terrible position for it, but I don't think Mike's the kind of guy that's just gonna let someone else roll the table.
Here's where buying in low can help you too, because you won't lose that much when you play back at him.
You won't lose that much, and if the pots start to swell early on, you can find easier shove spots instead of having to shove like over pot. You might end up having like 3/4 pot, you know, on the turn, and you can just stick it in or find other ways to kind of go after it. Rajiv has another pretty hand here, the ace queen off.
Uh-oh.
Alan's turn, just passing these kings around the table. Alan's also a guy that likes to play very quick.
A big raise. Oh, wow. Wow. You got
Quickly
Tammy to fold.
Quickly
Yeah.
fold.
Didn't
for
even
her.
hardly think about it.
Danger!
Mm-hmm. Say that again, Toby.
Nice fold.
Oh, good fold by
Nice
Rajiv.
fold.
So you think Rajiv and Chris are using kind of the same spectrum on Alan right now?
Might be. Might be.
I'm actually okay with Alan's raise. I think Alan I think he has a bit of an idea of Rajiv's style. And I think raising bigger with a big hand is perfectly fine.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with it. I personally don't like to re-raise that big, but I don't criticize anybody for doing it. You win the pot.
No, I think you probably would have done the same if you have like actually been in that position, analyzing, analyzing like who the initial raiser was.
Right.
You know, if you know that Rajiv is calling at a wider range, then
yeah, that's true.
get as big as you can.
Yeah, you always try to find the amount where you're going to get called.
Raise it up, 22.
Sometimes it's hard to find that amount. 22 by Dan.
Call.
Against a couple ace jacks. That's a pretty good spot to be in when you're the original raiser.
I mean, if I always know my opponents are sharing cards, I'm actually going to be doing mental cartwheels.
Uh-oh. Oh my gosh.
100.
David from the dentist just called. And he wants to know if this is real life.
100.
I guess is this a magical sombrero?
I don't know. It must be.
Somebody. We should have checked. This might be like one of those hats from Hogwarts. Who knows? So I think Dan maybe thought he was getting pushed around in that hand raid ace queen, and I think he's just like, you know what? I'm not in the mood for it.
Well, I tell you what. When you make it 22 with eights, you get two callers and a raiser.
I think we actually had the straddle on.
Okay.
So
all right.
So, but even then, we talked about earlier, people make these raises, and then the straddler comes around and just bops it, and here he is. I mean, he actually has. He's like, oh, really?
He was the straddler and got aces.
Yep.
Wow.
When somebody makes it 22 and gets 3 callers in front of him.
Yeah. You're thinking there's some big hands out there.
I would have made the same bet.
You know, to call 22 cold, you're thinking there's got to be some pretty strong hands.
Yeah, that's pretty. Rick's just like, you know what? I'm good, guys. I'm gonna take off. You know what? I've made my money for the night, and I'm gonna hit the road.
I tell you what, if it keeps running like this, he's going to be the only winner at the table.
So he's gonna break the game.
I didn't go right. We good?
Uh-oh, here we go. 7 deuce. Third time tonight.
12 now.
So while we have a second here, someone was asking in the chat what a straddle was. Do you want to explain it to him real quick?
Basically, a straddle. The blinds are 1-2. The straddle is a third blind. Basically, he's got an option to raise when it comes back around to him. It's a raise to 5, a live option.
Was that sufficient, Ryan? Let us know.
It's basically a third blind out there.
7 deuce is going to be going against 3 other opponents here. One of them which is Brandon with pocket jacks.
Check.
Let's see if he
This is a
fires
pretty
again.
scary spot for Chris. You got to figure someone has something decent, but at the same time, he was
35.
undergun +1 raising, so ooh, here's the best hand to fold so far.
And that should do it.
Fold, fold.
Well, he hasn't hardly played.
Here's 7.
He's just like, ship it, pay me the monies.
An extra 35 on top. That is going to throw our chip counts off a little bit tonight, too.
Yeah, didn't think about that.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe Paul's taking it off right now.
We have not partnered yet. We are working on it. But as soon as we do, we will announce it on our Twitter page at Poker on Air. So if you want to follow us there, we can spread the good news at the same time. As we know, we'll let you know. So as soon as it's time to sub, guys, we're ready. You know, come on Twitch.